Hello everybody and welcome to Gene's Reviews. Reviews from a regular dude, where I do movie reviews, trailer reactions, I react to YouTube videos, and I review YouTube channels, and I do whatever the hell I want. Today, I'm going to be checking out another one of those missing 411 videos. I love watching these. This really interests me, how these people come up missing in the national parks and everything like that. And this is called Missing 411, Theories of What is Hunting Humans. So, leave your comments down below what you think this is. Is it extraterrestrial? Are the people just getting lost and we can't find them? What the hell is going on? So anyways, let's see how many times I can say that in this video. Let's check this out right now.
Most recently, a couple years ago, a woman disappeared. I believe it was in Arkansas, and she was eventually found, and she said for 3 days, I knew that there were people behind bushes that were watching me the entire time. And they didn't help me, and I walked up to them sometimes and tried to talk to them, but they wouldn't talk to me.
My 2-year-old son, we can't find him.
How long has he been missing?
About 4.
There was a hunter in Colorado that contacted me a couple years ago. And he was hunting for elk at about 10 or 11,000 feet up in northern Colorado. And he said he was walking on a plain where the grass was maybe 4 feet high, 3 or 4 feet. And he heard something coming towards him, and he couldn't really identify it. And he kept walking. He got on a trail, and he kept hearing a loud hum. And he started to slow down on the trail. And he said in front of him, it became real blurry. So he slowed down even more. It was almost like you were looking through glasses that weren't yours, and it was just strange looking.
Okay, I've heard that theory a lot. Got all blurry and everything, and then they're claiming they're going into another dimension. But the problem with that is, how the hell do you get back?
He said he almost walked up to it, and it looked like a plate of glass, and he stuck his foot through, and part of his foot disappeared.
Yeah.
And he said, I brought my foot back, and I turned around, and I ran.
I would.
There's a story I wrote about where a small boy, 3 years old, was up near Mount Shasta. And he was camping with his grandma and grandpa and parents. He disappeared. He was gone for about 12 hours. The boy came back and told the story that he was held in an underground cavern, and there were robots in the room, and that somebody that looked like grandma was taking care of him. And he said that he thought it was grandma until he saw sparks coming out of her head, and that he had seen old-time guns and things on a ledge around the outside of the cavern. Well, originally, I got a notification from a national park ranger that he had worked at a series of national parks, and they had an unusual amount of disappearances, and the people had disappeared in unusual places that really didn't make a lot of sense to this person. And over the years, they tried to do a little research and figure out what happened, and they got stymied. And the more they looked into it, into their internal system, he got concerned that there wasn't enough being done. And eventually ended up contacting me when I was at a park doing some peripheral research. And we started to look into disappearances in the U.S. National
David
Park
Paulides.
system. Probably the first case that brought my interest was a case of Stacy Aros that disappeared in Yosemite.
I've never
A
seen
14-year-old girl that was on a pack train ride into Sunrise Lakes, into the High Sierra area of Yosemite. Her and her dad stopped at a series of cabins. She got off her horse, freshened up, and her and a 70-year-old man named Stuart went and took a short walk off to this bluff, and she brought her camera, and they were going to just take pictures. The trail hands saw them walk over there, and she walked away from Stuart and told Stuart she was going to walk down to a lake to take some pictures. And the trail hand and Stuart saw her walk down there, and that was the last time she was ever seen. Subsequent search found the lens cap to her camera right inside the tree line of that area. But the reality is they never found a trace of her after that. I filed a series of Freedom of Information Act requests against the Park Service to get documents. And I have received documents before from the Park Service on other missing persons cases. I got a call from their attorney asking me why I wanted the case.
See, it makes you wonder. It really does, because how she couldn't get that far in that amount of time, you wouldn't think. You think they'd be able to find her pretty easily, but without a trace, they can't find anything other than the lens cap. They found the lens cap. This is just nuts, this stuff.
And then they asked me what I was going to do with it. And finally, a special agent from the Park Service, a guy named Yu, told me I would never get that case. He didn't explain why, but he said, you're never going to get it. Well, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because the Park Service is a big bureaucracy, and I'm sure that they have policies and procedures. And depending on which park you call on or you make the request through, you'll get reports on missing people. And a missing persons case isn't a criminal case, it's a missing person. And most agencies want publicity about missing people. It appears that the Park Service doesn't want publicity about their missing people.
So they know what's going on.
In this one instance, the park failed to comply and said that I would never get that case, and to this date, I don't have that case. You know,
like I said before, we don't want to scare everybody, so let's just keep this hush-hush. Bullshit. Tell us what's going on. We need to
family members of Stacy's. They are equally concerned. They've read my books. They've read the stories. They said that their dad had compiled a massive amount of documents, and he was concerned. And an uncle of theirs called me and said the same thing, and said it just didn't make sense. There were a lot of rumors that, hey, she may have walked out of the park. All of this was not true. She completely disappeared. When I talked to Agent Yu on the phone, I asked him, were there any suspects? Is this continuing to be investigated? He told me that no one's touched the case for years, there are no suspects, and there's no way that it's going to get turned into a criminal case as far as he knew. Originally, we focused on just the United States. And slowly, as the word got out what we were doing, we started to get contacted from people from around the world. And initially, it came out of Canada that there were these additional cases. And then the Canadian National Park System seems to fall into the same category as the U.S. National Park System as far as the number of disappearances. To date in North America, we've established 52 clusters of missing people in national parks and national forests throughout North America. The biggest cluster in the world of missing people, Yosemite National Park.
Yosemite, yeah.
So to this point, we established a profile that is based upon hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of disappearances and thousands of reports that we've read about missing people. So this profiling, it's a specific point we're looking for. Namely, canines that are brought in can't find a scent. They disappear and there's nothing heard.
So they're gone.
There's
they're not
there's
there
nothing
anymore.
seen. There's no abduction scenario. The people a lot of times are walking with friends or parents, and they're either first in line or they're last in line when they disappear. And those people don't hear or see anything either. One of the specific scenarios that we get asked is that, well, maybe it's an animal attack. No. So in the search and rescue reports, they bring in trackers, they bring professional people in. In each one of those cases, it's completely absolved that there isn't an animal attack. Because in an animal attack, there's going to be blood, there's going to be hair, and there's going to be drag marks where the body would get dragged somewhere. This has never been seen, not in the cases that we'll work. It's true, people are attacked by animals. I don't doubt that, and I know for a fact that that's true. In these cases, we won't work a case where there's an animal attack. They don't fit the normal disappearance scenario. It gets even stranger. Because the same scenario of missing person to missing person plays out over and over and over again. You'll read in the papers sometimes about small children that disappear, and they're found thousands of feet above where they disappeared. 90% of the time, somebody that young, they're deceased.
Yeah, this stuff is crazy. I don't know. The only thing I can think of, and this is what my theory is, call me crazy, whatever, but like the very first thing that he was talking about, the guy that, it was like a mirror and all that. It reminds me of that movie that came out a year or two ago What the hell was the name of that? I never saw it, but it had to do with that, about going into other dimensions and stuff like that. And they had some scenes that, if you remember the name of the movie, let me know in the comments down below. Annihilation just hit me. Annihilation is what it was called. But I think that makes a lot of sense. But I think it also has a lot to do with extraterrestrial. So maybe extraterrestrials are taking them into another dimension, into their world or whatever, and studying them. I don't know, because they're gone without a trace, with nothing. They're gone. I mean, the dogs can't find them. They can't find a scent. There's no blood left. There's nothing left. So what else could it be? Anyways, that was Missing 411 Theories with David Paulides. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of all this. And now how about a joke? What's the difference between boogers and broccoli? Most kids won't eat broccoli. I don't blame them. No, actually, I like broccoli. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hashtag Mean Gene, all that fun stuff. And I will see you next time.